a blind medium, a coarse glass eye, a room-sized wooden mannequin hunting for revenge.
Versus a teenager in the German Alps, targeted by a shrieking bird woman and a flute-playing cult leader.
2024, horror went completely off the rails, in the best way possible. Damian McCarthy's Oddity brought us slow-burn Irish atmospheric terror and the scariest piece of furniture in movie history.
And Tilman Singer's Cuckoo threw us headfirst into a neon-soaked, sound-bending B-movie fever dream starring Hunter Schafer and an unhinged Dan Stevens.
2 modern cult classics, 6 battle rounds, only 1 champion.
Welcome to CinemaJam VERSUS, Oddity versus Cuckoo. Let's step into the ring.
Okay, Johnny, this one's got your number on it. Let's jam.
Hi, and welcome everyone back to another episode of CinemaJam Podcast, a cinema podcast where 2 friends get together on a weekly basis to talk about movies, discuss movie, analyze them, and basically share our thoughts and our views on these movies with everyone that is following this podcast. As always, I'm Pablo Vélez, and I'm joined by my good friend
Sebastián Gómez. Hi, Pablo. Excited to talk about 2 very old movies.
Indeed. Today is going to be a very interesting versus episode, and we'll be talking about 2 very peculiar folk independent B-movie something horror movies. We're gonna get into that in a sec. Just before that, I want to welcome everyone who's discovering this podcast, who's finding us on YouTube or in any of the streaming platforms, or also has seen our shorts in Facebook and in Instagram. We want to invite everyone to join the community, to subscribe to our main channels on YouTube, and also to check our exclusive content on Patreon, where Sebas and I, we publish also on a regular basis some very, more personalized, more custom content for everyone that, follows the podcast. Okay, so with that, Sebas, let's talk about the movies that you chose for this versus episode, which are very peculiar. We got 2 movies, Oddity from 2024, Damian McCarthy, an Irish ghost story, I want to say, versus Cuckoo, a German-American movie from 2024, also same year, from Tilman Singer. What made you choose these 2 very weird movies?
To be honest, it's basically, they were 2 movies from 2024 that I had in my mind for a long time. Knew about them, especially I knew actually both of them had a very good sense of dread, I guess is the best way to put it. And now that you mentioned it, when we were talking about the intro, I didn't realize they were so, because they are very regional, one is in the Alps and another one is like a Irish town, although they don't really specify which town. And so they have an interesting mix of elements. And it was just because they were from 2024. To be honest, I just knew they were interesting movies that were always in my Disney Plus or Hulu here in the United States, like in my Hulu catalog. They always recommended me after I watch another movie. So let's talk about it. I had them in my mind for a long time, and both of them seem to be compatible.
They are very compatible, and I think they're a very good choice for this versus episode. And by the way, Oddity, Sebas, Oddity was a movie that I had in my list in different channels, and I wanted to find the right occasion to watch it, so I'm happy about it. Cuckoo, I did not have in my radar. I've seen the trailer, and the lady with the thing on her head, the Band-Aid or whatever that is. And Sebas, should we just?
I actually want to mention that for me was the opposite. Cuckoo was the one that I had in my mind that I wanted to watch first. I know you watch. I think you mentioned when we were chatting on the text on the text message. You watched Oddity first, right? And I watched Cuckoo first because that's the one I really wanted to watch first. Especially because there is a particular scene in Cuckoo that I have seen in YouTube that I wanted to see, and we're gonna talk about that in memorable scenes. So for now, let's jump into it.
Let's do it. Let's go straight into the first round.
Round one.
So we've got, two very peculiar movies. Let's say that Oddity plays out like a tight, dark, sort of fairy tale, revenge puzzle, kind of like a crime whodunit in a way type of movie, where you have to pay attention to every detail and that like plays off at the end. While Cuckoo leans into a more chaotic sci-fi biological conspiracy, if you want to define it like that. So from your perspective, Sebas, which script delivers a more complete, satisfying story from start to finish?
So both of them have to have a lot of willing to believe what is happening, because both premises in the deeper conspiracy, once we find out what is like the layers behind everything we see, because both of them take a long time to really show the, let's say, the monster. Actually, both of them are a little bit of a slow burn, but very well done. I actually find the pacing very interesting. So you really have to, I'm trying to disbelieve. What is the term saying for the suspension of disbelief? Like, accept the facts are real, that the monsters that we have in both movies are real. You have to go with the flow of it. If you think a lot about it, they don't make any sense. First of all, let's go with that. In that sense, I really like the story around Cuckoo and the main character, Hunter Schafer, more compelling than the other one. It's more complicated. It's a character that has a little more of a background story, and we are following that, that evolution, the pain. So the story is more around the pain of her and accepting the new family. Kind of new family. I mean, his father remarried with another woman and they had a little girl. So basically she has to accept her stepsister. And that's the story. In Oddity, is more like the twin sister wants revenge for something that happened to her sister at the beginning of the movie. So I think the story of Cuckoo was more compelling for me. What about you?
I was going to say the complete opposite, because
it can be.
Oddity, I mean, for our viewers who haven't seen this movie, Oddity is a very, strong ghost movie. It's a movie about,
Yes.
someone who has psychic capabilities, like the twin sister who also runs a shop. And then, she has this wooden thing that looks like a golem that she brings into the house of the ex-husband of, the husband of the sister that was killed, her sister. So, things eventually evolve to kind of like a revenge ghost story. But the elements are also like a little, like typical like Agatha Christie. And I was surprised, Eva, that you didn't like it, because or you didn't think that the story was more compelling, because it's like a whodunit story. Like you kind of like feel like, yes, maybe it was the husband from the beginning, like there was something off about him. But at the same time, there's like a couple of like good twists, I want to say. Cuckoo, Sebas, is a very weird story. It's one of the strangest, scripts or stories a script is based on that I've ever seen in a long time. I gotta give it that. It's very creative, but it's very difficult to understand exactly what is going on.
The thing about Oddity, I like both of them. I'm gonna be clear that I like Oddity as well. It's just that there was a disjointness in the way that it was edited that I didn't feel it enhanced the story. The Cuckoo is basically a story from beginning to end. We see what happens basically in these couple of days or 3 or 4 days in that town, especially around the character. But in in Oddity, is jumping. We see a flashback. We see then another. We jump into the like a year after. No, so not a flashback. So we start, and then we jump into like a year later. Then we start seeing different flashbacks, but we don't see the flashbacks all at once. So I don't know why they divided the flashbacks like a couple of times. And for me, it was just like tricking the viewer, not the characters, because
It's a whodunit
the main
movie.
character, Danny Timmins, played by Caroline Bracken, she already knew who done it, right? I don't know. It wasn't
When
completely
we
satisfying, but I like both of them.
when we reviewed Knives Out, I mean, I had an issue with the flashbacks and the back and forth in the story, but in this one, I mean, there wasn't like that many flashbacks, and there were like few characters, only the husband, the sister, the psychic, the new girlfriend of the husband, and then the wooden golem that I think is one of the creepiest things I've ever seen in a long time. So
Well,
I
there
don't know.
were 2 different patients from the psychic
Plus,
world.
yeah, but I mean, they were like, yeah, I don't know. I honestly thought the story in Oddity was more complete overall from start to finish, more like easier to grasp and more satisfying. Cuckoo, I didn't fully like, and the ending. I mean, we'll talk about it, later, but I don't know. I would be okay splitting the.
Yeah, let's split it. Yeah, let's do a split. Normally, when we do this, if you're a first-time listener, we try to pick one, but
Yeah.
sometimes when we don't have a chance, we have to split it and hope that in another
Round.
round we get the deciding factor. Okay,
Okay.
so I'm gonna split it and
Round 2.
Okay, perfect. So, the round 2 is about characters and acting, and I'm gonna stick because we usually have like a couple of questions that we can choose from. I think I like the first one better because there's both movies are actually are character driven movies, female character driven movies, like both leading actresses, Hunter Schafer in Cuckoo and then Caroline Bracken, who plays 2 roles in Oddity, are delivering like very strong performances. Caroline Bracken in Oddity does that duality between the quiet, terrifying, psychic sister, while Hunter Schafer does this very good, honestly, delivery as the teenager that becomes the final girl at the end, Cuckoo. From that perspective, so, and then we can talk about the secondary actors if we're not too sure where the point goes. But from a female character driven movie, which one does it better, Cuckoo or Oddity?
I think Oddity, yeah, and especially the character of Danny Timmins is very strange but compelling and so different from her sister. I don't have the name here. I remember it started with D as well, but I don't remember the name of the sister at the beginning. So, well, no, wait. Danny was the one that was killed, right?
Yes, Danny was the one that was killed. Darcy is the sister.
Darcy is the blind one, the psychic. Now, I was remembered. Both of them started with D, but I just remember. Yeah, Danny Timmins is the the wife of Ted Timmins. So that's the one that was killed at the beginning. But Darcy is the same, it's played by the same character actress. And it was very interesting, very weird, very methodical. I don't know how to describe, because she was very calm and always like,
She was amazing. She was
yeah,
amazing.
she did a great job. Yeah. And I also like the one from Cuckoo, but you could tell that it was a more inexperienced actress. So maybe that's the difference. Maybe in the future we can have her do something like
Okay, so you're actually giving the point to Caroline
Oddity.
Rackham.
Yeah. Mhm.
Oddity. Oh, okay.
Mm.
I was actually tempted to give the point to Hunter Schafer. There was something
She's
about her
very strong.
performance. Yeah, she does. And actually she looked really like cool. She's like this, teenager who was a bass player, and then she was like rebelling, and like she also has like this pain because her mom died. And
I think she's a guitar player now that I think about it.
no, bass. She plays the bass. Yeah, it was the bass.
Guitar, yeah.
No, it was a bass. And but she's cool. Like you can totally like relate to her. But the thing is that I think she was a bit overshadowed by the villain, by
Dan Stevens.
Dan Stevens.
I was going to mention that I think the villain in Cuckoo is a little bit better. Dan Stevens. I love Dan Stevens. I have seen him in a lot of movies and TV shows. Ironically, not in Downton Abbey. I think that's one of his most famous one.
Yeah.
But I really like him as an actor, and I think he did a great job, like a creepy billionaire, eco-environmentalist, whatever it's supposed to be.
He's actually, if the question was about the villain, then the point would go 100% to Cuckoo. But I think it's fair that we focus on the female characters, because both movies are driven by women who are very good, in what they're doing. But I agree, the weirdness of Caroline Bracken's performance as not Danny, sorry, actually as both, but Darcy, the blind sister, is like so unsettling and so good. Let's give the point to Oddity.
I do want to also mention that in Oddity there is this character played by, what is the name of the guy that
the nurse
is playing chess? Yeah, with
Ivan. Ivan is the nurse, and then Steve Wall.
Steven Wall.
Yeah.
That's
he's also very good.
Very creepy character, and we find out why at the end of the movie. He plays a great, and Tadin Murphy, that is one of the patients that is actually accused of being the killer at the beginning. I also find him very interesting, especially because he has that glass eye. I was trying to remember where I seen him from different things, but I don't recognize the name. But yeah, it has some interesting cast of characters.
A little piece of trivia for our viewers: Damian McCarthy, the director of Oddity, has done like a few movies, and he also did a short called "How Olin Lost His Eye." So actually, there's a whole backstory.
There's a backstory.
Yeah. So I mean, he does have this universe that he's building around all these different characters. So I thought that was pretty cool.
I think he has potential.
He has potential.
I remember. I'm sorry to drag this a little bit more, but do you remember? Did you see the Friday the 13th movie? Sorry, no, the TV series.
No.
Okay, on Fridays, like at midnight, almost midnight, they used to present in Colombia the Friday the 13th TV series. And it was basically that shop.
Okay.
It was the Oddity shop that the Darcy character owns with the course objects. And every week, basically, they were trying to recover a course object somewhere.
I think I know what you're talking about now.
So it reminded me of that. Oh, I remember that. And I think it was also like in a subterranean. So maybe they took inspiration of that. But yeah, it's a TV series that I really liked when I was younger. I don't know what happened to that TV series. Never seen it. I only saw it in Colombia, so that's the funny thing. I don't even know where could I find it now. Okay, let's go to round 3.
Do it.
Round 2.
Okay, round 3 is all about visuals and direction, and we've got, two directors who have a very unique, approach to their movies. We've got Damian McCarthy that uses, this very, interesting approach to the geography, to the spaces and the shadows and the claustrophobia that you see in Oddity. And he builds all this creeping dread, around that. And then you have Tilman Singer that actually puts us in the Bavarian Alps in Germany, but puts a lot of like retro texture. Sometimes it feels like the hotel in The Shining in a way. It's like so weird. There's a lot of sunlight, but there's also these scenes at night, and there's a lot of like neon colors and hospital lights. So I'm talking about Cuckoo, the other movie. So tell us, which director, Damian McCarthy or Tilman Singer, created a more effective horror atmosphere?
This is going to be the most difficult one for me because I really like that setting in the German Alps in Cuckoo. I find it very interesting, especially with the shadows and the lights, those neon lights in the. We're not talking about a neon sign like a diner. No, we're talking about like the street lights, where they are basically a lot of shadows. Oddity is more claustrophobic, so it's because it's basically in almost, I will say, like 80% of the movie is in a house, basically in one room, but the director was able to play from different angles. Like sometimes it shows us the full room, sometimes shows the room is like a long room that has like the core, like the diner table and a social area and a little bathroom, and in that area is able to do a lot of things. And as you mentioned earlier, we have ghosts, we have this golem that is constantly moving. There is like a second balcony that goes into that area, so we're able to see it from the top. So I think I will give it to Oddity just because of that. For me, it's really hard because I really like the setting in Cuckoo. The hospital in Cuckoo, the hotel in Cuckoo, the streets, the street scenes in Cuckoo were great. But Oddity played it very well. Making an hour and 38 minutes movie in just basically one room, it was like very effective use of one location.
I agree. 100%. I had the same analysis, and I just want to also highlight that I think Damian McCarthy knows his horror and he knows how to do scare jumps. There were a couple of moments that shook me, like really got me in Oddity. I didn't get the same in Cuckoo. I never felt like it was like it was a very cool movie to watch. More like a psychedelic movie at moments. Like you didn't really like fully understand what was going on, but it was like a cool,
It was like almost everyone was on drugs, or at least we felt
it was like
it
was like The Shining. I mean, you can totally see the influence of The Shining in that movie. But Oddity as a horror movie, it was very effective. And that golem, that wooden thing here, at some moments it was changing its position, looking upwards, and then at the end we get a really cool scene where it comes to life. So I mean, come on, the point has to go to Oddity.
Yeah, and the use of the camera, but I'm not talking about the cinematographer camera, but there is a camera that is taking pictures in a time lapse. That use of that camera was
when she sees the photo of the person inside the house, that was beautiful. Well done.
Yeah. And then later the second girlfriend,
yes,
when she's reviewing it, and even when the janitor comes in and also see that camera was like the perfect use several times. I love it. Okay, let's go with
Round 4.
Okay, so round 4 sales is about soundtrack and vibe. Cuckoo uses a lot of audio manipulation. There's a lot of like sound loops that are meant to, disorient the viewer. There's that high pitch shriek that you get multiple times from the central main monster, this human bird hybrid, if I can define it like that.
I'm
And
sorry
then-
we're spoiling that part of, but we already spoiled at the beginning of
Yeah,
the
of course.
podcast.
Then, you compare that, like very active use of, sound manipulation with the more, minimalistic approach in Oddity that is more all about, the silence, the creaks, hearing like someone walking upstairs in this really like old Irish, house. Which one do you think did it better?
I will give it to just because it's part of the design of the monster. If it wasn't for that, the movie wouldn't work at all. That's the only reason. I like the design in Oddity. It's magnificent, especially the silence. The director and the composer use when the note goes loud to scare you, like when the face of the ghost appears when the wife was outside running for the car. Not the wife, the second girlfriend. Did the face scare you or the high note in the music scare you? So
Both.
yeah, both. I know it's both, but the weirdness in the cuckoo design of the sound, I think, is what gives it a little bit of the edge there. What
I
about
think
you?
no, I agree. I mean, Oddity is a really strong classic ghost movie, and as a classic ghost strong movie is one that relies on silences and creaks and all this. I find that the monster in Cuckoo, I mean, yes, it's like one of the most creative monsters I've seen in a long time. And, they're basically, manipulating time and space with this shriek, kind of like with the sound of a bird.
Yeah, it's like a time, almost like a loop. It's so
Exactly.
interesting, yeah.
So from that perspective, I think it's a pretty creative, device. So yeah, let's give this one to Cuckoo. I agree.
And it has I like the needle drops. There is a couple of needle drops there where they put like a known song that I like in Cuckoo. I didn't felt it was like the character, right? It felt that it made sense to the Hunter Schafer character. I do want to mention that one of the things from Oddity is that you can feel that there is a lot of inspiration from other movies. Some of when we were talking about visuals, I wanted to mention like it reminded me a little bit of Smile, like that camera movement, and it rotates, and when it looks one way, it doesn't show anything, but when it comes back, it shows like the scary part, like the ghost or something. So in Smile, that they use that a little bit, and the sound is also reminding me of other movies, so it felt a little bit generative, but also well done. So it wasn't bad. It's not a bad thing per se, but I think you can tell the inspiration by the character, by the director.
Round 5.
Okay, Sarah. So round five is about memorable moments, or what we call the WTF factor. So, okay. So we've got, different, set pieces in both
Examples,
movies,
yeah.
examples. I'm just going to list a few and then you tell me which one, got you, will keep you thinking about it over the years to come. So first, in Oddity, you get, a trapdoor, the wooden mannequin golem, the subtle movements when it comes back to life. There's also this additional ghost of a bellboy at the end that is also unexpected. And then Cuckoo gives us all these time loops created by the bird monster, the hospital escapes, the fights, because there's a lot of like fighting with the monsters. And then, Dan Stevens playing the, what was the Hamlet?
The flute or the recorder is called here.
Yeah, the what's the pan?
It's called a recorder. Here in the United States, they call it a recorder.
Okay, yeah, no, but I mean, it's more like the pan flute, like the book, the fable.
Pipe.
Exactly, thank you. The Pied Pipers. Exactly, because he plays the flute basically to, dominate this creature. So which of these different set pieces, will be stuck with you for the years to come?
Well, the bicycle scene
The
in Cuckoo.
golem, the golem, the golem, the golem, the golem.
For me, it was the bicycle scene in Cuckoo. That one was the one that really stand out. It was the first time. Until then, we didn't see any type of monster. We knew there was something uncomfortable, and Dan Stevens warning Gretchen that she shouldn't leave at after 10 or something like that. I think it was that she shouldn't be outside after 10. And I just love that bicycle because she's riding the bike and then she starts seeing the child. We see
And it was
the
done
woman
with
following her at the same speed in the
us.
far. Yeah.
And it was done with practical effects. Like
Yeah.
it was actually done at night. They had like a couple of shots with a full moon, and then a person behind. Every time there was a loop through the trees, you would see the shadow approaching the bike. That was actually really well done. I agree with you.
And you could see the woman running through the houses in the screen way before we saw the shadow. So I thought it was great. So that for me was the standout in both movies. And I actually think, well, the golem was good, but
Oh, come on.
you
the golem
could
was
tell
amazing.
it was going to happen. I don't know. It was like, yeah. I really I actually like better when the golem kills
Attacks Ivan, actually.
all in what?
No, the golem actually doesn't kill anyone. I think
No. So the
Oh, yeah,
golem
it does.
attacks
It does.
all in
It does.
bull. It's just that we
Yes.
don't see it.
We don't see it.
We
Yeah.
see like the fight. We hear the guy painting. I really like that scene. I think that was much more effective than watching the golem move like slowly
come
around
on,
the
it
house.
was beautiful
It was
'cause
good. It was,
You're the whole movie waiting to see what's gonna happen with that damn thing, and I've never seen a movie where I'm like so like in this state of like waiting and eager just to see what's gonna happen with it. Come on, the thing that you see in the background that the girlfriend is like checking out.
yeah,
It's
she's going
sitting,
to put her hand in the
on a
mouth.
chair at the table, just like sitting there with the mouth open for like about 40% of the movie, and you're waiting to see what's going to happen. At every moment, it has like these weird like positions, but we don't see it moving until the last minutes of the movie. For me, it was the golem. I like the bicycle thing in Cuckoo, and I also like every time that the evil guy Dan Stevens was around. But I mean, Oddity is amazing. Honestly, come on.
I don't know. I will split it.
Okay, let's
I
split it.
think
Let's split it.
the golem was good, but
I'm gonna remember the golem for years to come. It's
yeah, it was pretty good. It was good, but I will remember the weird old ladies following her at night in the. Yeah, I don't know. I felt more related to that than the other one. So the golem was weird. You knew something was going to happen with the golem. So I don't know. It wasn't like a big surprise, but the way it showed at the end, I think it was the one. I think actually what surprised me more was the fall from Darcy because of the trap. I think they mentioned it in the list of scenes. I think that was a very well done scene. Okay, let's go to round
6. So, Sebas, if you had a couple of hours on a Friday night, you had a good whiskey with you, and you invite some friends over, and everyone is like super, eager to see what you, a famous podcaster of movies, horror movies, is going to recommend and put in the TV at the party for them to watch. Which movie are you choosing?
If I have to put it without volume while everyone is having a party or drinking, I will put Oddity. if we're sitting down to watch it, I will probably put Oddity as well. I would recommend Cuckoo, but I think I will, in the end, put Oddity before Cuckoo. And I will tell them about my stories late at night watching Friday the 13th, the TV series.
Excellent. Same for me. I would choose Oddity.
Okay, so if rewatchability goes to Oddity, we do have
I have a winner.
And the winner is.
The winner is Oddity from 2024 from Damian McCarthy, written by Damian McCarthy, starring Carly Bracken, Willem Lee, I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, Stephen Wall, Joe Rooney, Tathag Murphy, and a bunch of other really interesting actors and actresses.
Yeah, it was a good experience. I like both movies. I think 2024 was a pretty good year for movies. Because Smile 2 came in that year as well, right? So I didn't realize we ended up watching 3 movies from 2024 in the last week.
And we also got Sinners, right? In 2024.
Sinner was the 24? Oh, yeah.
I think so. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken.
So.
And then maybe even Weapons, but I haven't seen Weapons, so I wouldn't be able to comment on that.
Yeah.
No, sorry. Sinners of 2025.
Oh, yeah, that was from last year. Yeah. 2024 was Nosferatu, but you didn't like that one.
It's okay.
Okay. Ending our podcast. Both movies, did you like them? Will you recommend them? And will you, we already know the answer for the last.
Yeah, so I think Sales and I, we both liked both movies. I think we will watch them again at some point. And then we also recommend them. I think, for people that like ghost movies with a little, twist and drama and whodunit type of crime approach, Oddity is going to be very satisfying. And Cuckoo is one where if you're into weird, monsters and a strange setup, and if you like The Shining, you're going to like Cuckoo.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. I agree with Pablo. I like both of them. I will probably rewatch them again sometime. And I will definitely recommend them. Thank you again for your time. I hope you enjoyed them. Let us know which one do you think was your favorite and if you will rewatch them. Until next time, keep jamming about movies.
Until next time. Thanks, everyone.